In Campaign 2016 segment tonight, an interview with Donald Trump. We conducted it yesterday before the terror attack in California happened. But many of the themes we talked about are relevant to the Islamic terrorist situation. However, we begin the interview with President Obama traveling to Paris this week for the Global Warming Conference. Let's talk a little policy first off. What did you think of the Global Warming Summit in Paris this week?
I think it's ridiculous. We have bigger problems right now, and to have the president be there for an extended period of time talking about global warming being the biggest problem facing this country is insane. And he ought to get back to work and solve the ISIS problem and solve the problems we have with Russia and Iran. If they spend as much time working on the Iran deal as they did, I mean, this horrible, horrible transaction where we're giving away $150 billion, and which will lead to nuclear proliferation, by the way, he ought to get back here and go back to work.
Do you believe in global warming, climate change? Do you think the world's going to change for the worse because it's getting warmer?
I think that there'll be little change here. It'll go up. It'll get a little cooler. It'll get a little warmer like it always has for millions of years. It'll get cooler. It'll get warmer. It's called weather. I do believe in clean. And I've received, a lot of people don't know this, I've received many environmental awards, many environmental awards for the work I do. And I believe strongly in clean water and clean air. But I don't believe that what they say, I think it's a big scam for a lot of people to make a lot of money. In the meantime, China is eating our lunch because they don't partake in all of the rules and regulations that we do. They're buying our coal. We're not using our coal. They're buying our coal and they're using it. And then they compete because they're spending a lot less money to build their products and to make their products. So I am a believer in clean air and clean water at the highest level.
All right. If you were president, would you invest a lot of money in alternative energy to get away from fossil fuels? And would you limit the amount of coal emissions and other industries into the air?
I want to get away from the Middle East. I want to get away from the monopoly that they once had and they still have to a certain extent. I want to be able to be self-sufficient for the country. Now, due to the new techniques, things that we didn't even know about 3 or 4 years ago, it turns out we have a virtually unlimited supply of fuel right under our feet due to fracking and many other techniques that, frankly, are very new. And we are able to take care of ourselves. I know a lot about wind. Wind is destroying a lot of problems. And number one, it's killing the birds and the eagles. And you see what's happening in California with, you know, if you shoot an eagle, a bald eagle in California, they want to put you in jail. And yet the windmills are killing them by the hundreds.
So you're not a big proponent of wind.
Well, no, I'm not. I think it's fine in certain locations. I think it's fine. The problem with wind is it needs tremendous subsidy. Wind needs tremendous subsidy.
I mean, the government's going to have to.
So I think wind is fine in certain locations.
Would you invest government money in alternative fuels? Would you do that, or would you just let it go?
I would spend money on certain things. Now, solar always sounds better than it is. You know, you have a 36-year payback. I always want to go solar. I love the idea of solar. And then I do a test, and you get your money back in 36 years. The problem is the panels destroy themselves after 10 years. So it's just, you know, you've got to make it economically viable, Bill. Right now, it's not economically viable.
And if it were, then somebody would be marketing it. That's for sure. Now, this morning on Fox and Friends.
It would be wonderful if you could do that, but it has to be viable, yes.
This morning on Fox and Friends, you're talking about ISIS, and you said this. Roll the tape.
We're fighting a very politically correct war.
Yeah. Well, we see that happening in Ramadi.
The other thing is with the terrorists, you have to take out their families. When you get these terrorists, you have to take out their families. They care about their lives. Don't kid yourself. But they say they don't care about their lives. You have to take out their families.
So what does that mean? You're going to have assassins roaming around shooting the families of the terrorists?
When the World Trade Center came down, the people that knocked it down, the terrorists that knocked it down, put their families on airplanes and sent them back home, mostly to Saudi Arabia, believe it or not.
That was the Bin Laden Bush thing, yes.
And they put them, the Bin Laden disaster, which, by the way, I wrote about Bin Laden.
Would you have killed Bin Laden's family?
I would have done a very great distress. Look, supposedly they don't care about their own lives. I disagree with that. They want to live.
But you got to define for me. You say
supposedly
take
they don't,
out their families. What does that mean?
Bill, do you think the wives and the families knew exactly what was going to happen with September 11th?
I don't know.
do, and I know they did.
All right.
Well, I do. I think they did.
So when you say
and
take
frankly,
out, though,
the one thing
what does take
you're
out
going to have
mean?
to do what Israel was doing for a period of time. Take out means that you have to wipe out their homes where they came from. You have to absolutely wipe them out. It's the only way you're going to stop terrorism. You have all these cells all over the place.
Would you kill the family members of terrorists? Would you have killed the Bin Laden family?
I don't want to be so bold. I want to tell you they would suffer. They know what was going on. If you look at what happened with these terrorists, they put their wives on the planes. Those wives knew exactly what was happening. The children, everybody knew, but they put their wives and families on those planes. They went home. They knew what was going to happen. They sat back and watched Daddy on television.
How do you know
because
they
I
knew?
know. Because that's the way life is. Because I'm a realist. That's the way life works.
All right,
the wives knew
Bin
what the
Laden had a
husbands
lot
were
of
going
wives,
to do.
and he had some relatives here, and he's over in Afghanistan hatching a plot. I don't know if you can. I don't know. You can't really take them out.
We have to be, Bill. Hey, Bill. We have to be much tougher than we are.
All right.
We're just not doing it right. We have to be much more vigilant, and we have to be much tougher.
Okay.
We can't allow this to happen. They take the wives, they put them on planes, they send them home. Let's go home and let's watch Daddy tonight on television knock down the World Trade Center. There has to be retribution, and if there's not going to be retribution, you're never going to stop terrorism.
Now, in part two of our interview, I asked Mr. Trump why he makes so many statements that get him into trouble. Right back with it.